Hi everyone. So my dear students, so in this session we will learn the phase diagram. So this is very interesting topic in the physical part of the chemistry, and we will learn this phase diagram. So this is by understanding this phase diagram, so we can understand the phase changes in a particular physical phase of matter. So today we are going to discuss how a particular physical state can be changing into different phases. So let me tell you some examples. So you can take a solid phase. So solid is converting into liquid phase. Liquid is converting into gaseous phase. So how a particular solid is converting into liquid phase? Liquid is converting into gaseous phase. So what are the factors so which affect the changing into different phases of a particular matter? So that we will understand in this session. So myself, I'm Karthik, the Faculty of Chemistry from the Tribal Welfare Degree College, Karimnagar, and today I'm going to share my knowledge on the phase diagram. So let us start with this phase diagram. So what is a phase diagram? And how can by understanding the phase diagram? So what actually the applications of it, and what are the objectives by learning this phase diagram? So we will understand all these things in this lesson. So first, what is a phase diagram? So diagram is nothing but it is a graph. So first is you need to understand the name itself. So the phase diagram. So phase, a diagram. Phase is nothing but the physical state of a matter, that is solid, liquid, and a gas. So those are the general phases of a matter. And the diagram. So diagram is nothing but here itself, here the phase diagram itself. So it is a graph which can show the phase changes between a solid to liquid or liquid to gaseous phase, or you can take the solid to gas or gaseous to liquid phase, whatever may be. So I will show you one graph so you can easily understand this. So this is one of the graph. So this is one of the phase diagram of a water system, and this is very interesting phase diagram, because by understanding this we can even understand the nature itself. So see here, so this particular phase diagram, in this there is a x-axis which is the temperature, and here there is a pressure on y-axis. So here this particular graph is called the phase diagram. Phase diagram. And this particular phase diagram, by drawing or by plotting this particular curve in this phase diagram, we can understand how a particular solid is converting into solid phase. So how a particular liquid is converting into gaseous phase, how a solid is converting into gaseous phase, or gas is converting into solid phase. You know that the conversion of solid from liquid, which is called melting, or liquid to solid, which is freezing, or again liquid to gas, which is vaporization or evaporation. You can take boiling, or gaseous to liquid, that is condensation. Like this, I will explain you each process and what are the factors which affects all this process. So let us understand one by one, one by one. So first, let us understand the phase diagram. So first of all, you need to understand the terminology in this particular phase diagram. So what are the terminology in the phase diagram? So first, a phase diagram. So phase diagram is nothing but these are the diagrams or the graphical representation of physical states of matter under different conditions of temperature. So first you need to understand here that so this particular phase diagram are graphical representation of physical states of matter under different conditions of temperature, pressure, concentration, volume, whatever may be here. So here it is a graph. So it's consisting of different variables like temperature, pressure. So by changing, by varying different variables like temperature, pressure, what happens to the phases? The physical states of matter, that is solid, liquid, gas. So they can be changing. So solid is converted into liquid, or liquid may be converted into gases. So it which condition? So what are the factors? So the temperature, pressure, concentration. So we'll understand this by this phase diagram. So the phase diagram, so by understanding this phase diagram, so researchers can understand which condition a particular sample of matter can exist 2 or 3 state equilibrium. So that means a solid may be equilibrium with a liquid phase, a liquid may be equilibrium with a gaseous phase. So we can understand we can understand a particular condition. So particular condition so that a particular matter can be present in a different equilibrium state. So it may be exist in two-state equilibrium or three-state equilibrium. That means if you take you can take a beaker. So a beaker consisting of a liquid. So that is liquid H2O, and you can take the ice cubes. You can take ice cubes. So that is the solid ice particles in a beaker. So there is the equilibrium between the solid and liquid. So that we will understand in the phase diagram. And this particular phase diagram, they are explained with Gibbs phase rule. So this is called Gibbs phase rule, which is given by J. Willard Gibbs. He is a scientist and he given a particular formula, that is F is equal to C minus P plus 2. So this is a very important rule to understand the phase diagram. So by this rule, we can understand easily the phase diagram. You can draw a particular phase diagram. So first of all, you need to understand this, what is F, C, P, plus 2, everything. So F is nothing but the degrees of freedom. So P is nothing but the phases. C is nothing but the number of components. So one by one, we will understand this. So first, what is F, what is C, P? So we'll understand the terminology in this phase diagram. So first, what is a phase? So phase is nothing but it is a homogeneous, physically distinct, mechanically separable part of the heterogeneous system in equilibrium. So I will show you two examples so you can easily understand this phase. So let me take you something, a beaker like this. Here also I will take a beaker, and here I am taking water molecule, and here also I am taking water molecule. So these are the liquid particles, that is H2O, and here also I am taking H2O. So now I am adding here. So now I am adding here sugar particles. So I am adding here sugar, and here I am adding salt, that is NaCl. So here first of all you are adding sugar, that is a table sugar, and here I am adding salt. So you will get what happens when you are adding sugar or salt. What happens? So definitely this sugar and salt both can be easily dissolved in water. So you will get a clear solution, that is also a liquid phase. So when you change this, so I will not take a salt now. So I will take now sand. So that is sand or mud you can take. So by taking this sand, so this sand cannot dissolve in a water molecule. So what happens? So this particular sand, the sand particles, they will deposited at the bottom of this beaker because the density, the mass, the weight of the sand particles somewhat high. So these sand particles, so they can be deposited at the bottom of the beaker. So that means here, whenever adding sugar or salt, so what happens here? Whenever adding sugar or salt, they can be easily dissolved in a water. You can get a clear solution. So, but here in case of this, you cannot get a clear solution. There is you will get two phases. One is liquid phase as a water, and again the solid phase remains as a sand particle. So, what is the difference between these two systems here? So, the left side and right side system. So, in case of the left side, it is a binary mixture, and here also the right side, it is also a binary mixture. So, we are adding two components here. So, here also, this is a binary mixture, but it is a homogeneous mixture. So, it is homogeneous mixture, but it is a heterogeneous mixture. So, why it is homogeneous mixture? Why it is heterogeneous mixture? Homo is nothing but same. Homo means same. Hetero means different. So here different phases are there. Here similar phases are there. So here sugar and salt both can be present in a liquid phase. Hence it will get the clear solution. But here in case of this, you will get two separate phases, that is solid as a sand particle and again water as a liquid particle. Now you need to understand that this particular system, the left side which is homogeneous part and right side which is heterogeneous part. So you need to understand that this left side homogeneous part is consisting of only one phase. It's consisting of only one phase, that is liquid phase. liquid phase. But here in case of the right side, the heterogeneous system is consisting of two phases. One is the solid phase, that is the sand, and the another one which is liquid phase, that is the gaseous, sorry, the liquid phase. So one is a sand, which is a solid phase, and liquid as a water molecule. So this is a heterogeneous system, this is a homogeneous system. So this is a phase. So that you should understand here. So next here, after the phase, there is a component here. So component is nothing but the chemical substance which is present in a system. So in this particular system, so here I am taking the water molecule and sugar or salt. You can take any two components. So water is one component and the sugar is another component. So that means here this particular beaker, this system consisting of, this homogeneous system consisting of two components. But here in case of this also, it is a heterogeneous system. It is also having two components here. So in the right side, the heterogeneous consisting of two components, that is sand, one is sand and another one is water. So here there are two components are there. Two components are there. But how many number of phases are there? Definitely there will be two phases are there. Two phases are there. One is a solid phase and another one is liquid phase. But here in case of this homogeneous system, two components are there. So one is a solid phase and another one is the liquid phase. Sorry, one is a sugar and another one is water. So there are two components, but there is only one phase which is liquid phase here. That is a phase and a component. So that you can understand this phase and component in the phase diagram also. There I will explain you in detail of this phase and the component. So next, let us understand the phase degrees of freedom. So what is degrees of freedom? So degrees of freedom is nothing but, so these are the number of variables that can be freely moved without change any phases or equilibrium. So let us understand this. So I will take a beaker like this again. I'm taking again water molecule. So again I'm taking water molecule. These are the H2O or the water molecule. And I'm taking the solid ice cubes again. The solid ice cubes again. So I'm taking again ice cubes are there. Now you are taking the solid ice particles, so in water. So now if there is an equilibrium between the solid with the liquid, solid with the liquid. So at room temperature, so that is 25 degrees Celsius, what happens? So definitely these solid particles, they can be easily melt into liquid form. So solid can be easily converted into liquid here. So that means temperature is one of the factors. Temperature is one of the factors. So which can change the phase change, which can change the phase of a solid into liquid phase. Now here the degrees of freedom is nothing but these, they are the number of variables that can be freely moved without change any phase. That means here there are two phases are there. One is solid and another one is liquid phase. Now I don't want to change any phase. That means there must be an equilibrium between a solid and a liquid. So now I have a temperature and a pressure, temperature and a pressure. So if you are taking 25 degrees Celsius, definitely the solid is converting into liquid phase. So here the 25 degrees, one of the temperature, it is a one of the variables. Here degrees of freedom is nothing but the number of variables that can be freely moved, that can be freely moved, can be freely moved without change any phases. So we can understand this degrees of freedom by applying the phase rule in the phase diagram also. I will explain you the in detail with the degrees of freedom also. So if it is the degrees of freedom is 0, it is called invariant system. If it is 1, which is a monovariant system. If it is 2, which is bivariant. 4, which is a trivariant system. So let us understand again. So if it is a one component system, so let us understand here. So if it is one component system, so let us take some example. So the phase rule which is given by Gibbs, that is F is equal to C minus P plus 2. So if it is a one component system like water molecule, H2O, CO2, sulfur, you can take any one component. So you can take any one component here. So if it is a one component system, by applying the phase rule, that is F is equal to C minus P plus 2. So that is a number of component which is 1. F is equal to 1 minus P plus 2 and F is equal to 3 minus P. So you will get the formula which is F is equal to 3 minus P. The Gibbs formula which is F is equal to C minus P plus 2. So in this session we will learn only one component system. Further in the next session, we'll understand the two component and three component system. So let us understand the one component system simply by taking the water system or CO2 or sulfur. So first of all, we will understand the phase water system, then we will move on to the CO2 and sulfur also. So let us understand the water system. So first water system, so the solid which is ice. So H2O can be present in three forms as a solid phase, liquid phase and gaseous phase. So ice can be converted into liquid and liquid again converted into vapor. So there is an equilibrium between solid to liquid and again liquid to gas. So we'll understand this. So here I am taking only one component, that is water system. I am not adding any sugar or salt. So I am not adding anything. So simply I am taking only the H2O, that is water system. So let us take the phase diagram so that you can easily understand this particular phase, component, degrees of freedom, everything. The phase rule, the Gibbs phase rule, you can easily understand by using this phase diagram. So let us understand the phase diagram. So this is a phase diagram of a water system. So here you need to understand how a particular phase can be changed. That is, solid is converted into liquid phase, or liquid is converted into gaseous phase. So let us take a room temperature. That is a 25 degrees Celsius is a room temperature. So this particular phase diagram, it is for the water system. So on the x-axis we are having temperature, y-axis having the pressure. And now the pressure can be units with atmospheric pressure or mmHg, or you can take the bar. The pressure may be having a unit as bar mmHg, millimeter of mercury, and again the atmospheric pressure. And the temperature you can take the centigrade or Fahrenheit, whatever may be. So on the x-axis you have to take the temperature, and y-axis you have to take the pressure. So this particular phase diagram of water system. So let us take the room temperature, that is 25 degrees Celsius. So what happens? So when you decrease the temperature from 25 degrees to maybe 0 degrees, let us think it is 0 degrees. So what happens? So let us take a bottle with a water. You can keep it in a refrigerator. So what happens after some time? So it is converted into solid phase. It is converted into solid phase. So at what particular temperature it is converting into liquid phase? At what particular pressure it is converting into solid phase? So everything you can understand here. So this is 0 degrees and this is 0 degrees here. 0.0075, it is 100 degrees. So 25 degrees in between this. So let us take it is a 25 degrees Celsius. So here generally you can take the 25 degrees here. So let us take it is a 25 degrees Celsius, and the pressure which is 1 atmospheric pressure, and let us take it is the 25 degrees Celsius. It is a 1 atmospheric pressure. So this particular 25 degree at this particular point. So I will take you the simple example. So this is a 25 degrees Celsius, the temperature and pressure which is 1 atmospheric pressure. So when you decrease the temperature, what happens? The liquid is converting into solid phase. So directly the liquid whole, it cannot convert it into solid phase. So the liquid particles, they will start freezing. So after freezing, so it is converted into the solid phase. Now by using this phase diagram, we can understand at what temperature the liquid can be converted into what solid phase. So that is water can be converted into ice. So that means you can take the 25 degrees Celsius at room temperature. So we are decreasing the temperature like this. So we are moving on to left side, that is a pressure. So pressure which is at constant pressure which is 760 mmHg or 1 atmospheric pressure. So at a constant pressure we are decreasing the temperature. Now this liquid particles, so it is moving on to this solid here. So that means this particular 0 degrees is a freezing point of water. 0 degrees is a freezing point of water. So that you can understand by using this phase diagram. So here I want to visualize this phase diagram so that you can understand how a particular solid phase is converted into liquid phase. So let us take a beaker again like this. So here I'm taking water molecules again. I'm taking again the water molecule, and this is one of the piston. So this is one of the piston, So this is piston. So this is used to adjust the pressure. And here again I'm using flame here to boil a particular water system. So see here. So by using this phase diagram, we can understand this particular condition. So you can take the beaker and which is water, and I'm taking a piston above the surface of the water, and here I'm taking the vapor. So I'm taking the flame to boil this particular water. So when you increase the temperature at a particular pressure, what happens? So that can be understood by using this phase diagram. So if you boil this particular liquid, you can increase the temperature from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever, maybe 20, 30, 100, 200. So what happens? The liquid that can be understood by using this phase diagram. If you buy at certain pressure, so this piston is used to adjust the pressure of a particular water system. So if you can take the piston, so that means if you take the piston, so if you lift this piston, if you lift this piston above the surface, that means you are decreasing the pressure. So if you compress this piston downside, that means so the compression will take place here. That means you are increasing the pressure here. So by the increasing pressure and decreasing the pressure, so what happens? By decreasing the temperature and increasing the temperature, so increasing or decreasing, what happens to a water system? That everything we will understand by using this phase diagram. So let us understand one by one. See here. So, so first of all, let us take at to some lowest temperature. So let me take that minus 10 degrees Celsius. So it is one of the lowest temperature. So this is the temperature axis. Let us take certain temperature that is here. So, so I will take a temperature which is minus 10 degrees Celsius. So let us take it is minus 10 degrees Celsius. So at a particular pressure that is here. So I'm taking the pressure which is 1 atmospheric pressure here. So because the atmosphere will have the pressure which is 1 atmosphere, that is 760 mmHg, or which is 1 atmospheric pressure. So let us take a point here. So this particular point which is minus 10 degrees Celsius. So first let us say, so at this particular atmospheric pressure, 1 atmospheric pressure, so I'm taking a constant pressure. So I'm taking constant pressure. That means let us take again a beaker. So first let us take a beaker at this particular point. So that means this particular area, this is completely solid phase, and this particular area which is liquid phase, and this particular area which is gaseous phase. So this particular point, on this particular point, so there is a solid phase only. So there is a only solid phase here. Okay. So there is only solid phase here. So I'm taking the solid particles. So I'm taking the solid crystals like this. So you can take the solid crystals like this. So these are the ice particles. These are the ice particles. So which is present at a minus 10 degrees Celsius. So at minus 10 degrees Celsius, at pressure which is 1 atmospheric pressure, there is only solid particles. So that means we are taking a piston here. So now I'm using a piston here. So I'm using a piston. So this piston is used to adjust the pressure. So that is 1 atmospheric pressure, and now the temperature which is minus 10 degrees Celsius. Now let us take this particular point. So at this particular point, the phase which is only the solid phase. Now when you increase the temperature at a constant pressure, when you increase the temperature at a constant pressure, that means you are moving on to right side. So when you increase the temperature from 10 to 0 degrees, so slowly we are increasing the temperature like this. So what happens at a constant pressure? We are not changing the pressure. So simply this particular point is moving towards to here. So let us say this particular point is A. The point A is moving towards the right side like this. So what happens here? So when it is reaches to this point, so this is completely solid. So whenever it reaches to this point, let us take this point is B. So this particular point B, that is at 0 degrees, at 0 degree Celsius, what happens here? Suddenly the solid is converting into water molecule. So that means slowly this particular solid particle, the particular solid, so they can be converted into the liquid. The solid particles, they can be converted into liquid. So I will show you the liquid particles with this blue color. So this blue color, which is a liquid, and this green color, which is a solid crystal. So what happens? So when you are moving to minus 10 degrees to 0 degrees Celsius, so that is 0 degrees Celsius. So that is, this is at minus 10 degrees Celsius and this is 0 degrees Celsius. So we are increasing the temperature from 1 atmosphere to 0 degrees Celsius. So what happens? The solid is, it is ready to melt. It is ready to convert into liquid here. So the solid, the ice can be converted into liquid. So solid is starting with the melting. So the solid particles, ice cannot convert it directly into liquid. So slowly it will start here. So at a particular 0 degrees, the solid particles will be converted into melting. That means the melting will start at a 0 degree. So after this 0 degrees, let us move on after this 0 degrees. That means if you increase the further temperature, let us say 0.1. What happens? It is converted into liquid phase. So I'm taking the another beaker. So I'm taking the another condition. That is simply I'm taking the another beaker again. I'm again increasing the temperature. That is here 0 degrees is there. Now I'm taking the temperature that is not 0 degrees. Let us take the temperature of, let us say 20 degrees Celsius. Let us say it is 20 degrees Celsius. So 20 degrees Celsius, what happens here? Definitely at the 20 degrees Celsius, whatever the solid ice particles, all the solid ice particles can be completely converted into liquid here. So completely the particles, the solid ice can be converted into liquid here. So first at minus 10 degrees, so it is converted. So at minus 10 degrees, so when you are moving to 0 degrees, so at 0 degrees, the melting will start. At 20 degrees, the melting, the process is completed and completely the solid is converted into the liquid particles. But the point at B, so this particular point here, so let us take the point here, the point at 20 degrees, let us take C. So when you are moving to A, B, C, so at a particular A point, only solid is there. At a C point, only liquid is there. But at B point, there is an equilibrium between the solid and the liquid. So that you should understand here. So the process, so it is a fixed temperature, that is 0 degrees Celsius. So when you increase the temperature from minus 10 degrees to 20 degrees Celsius, the solid, the ice particles then be converted into liquid. At 0 degrees, there is an equilibrium between a solid and liquid. So here you should understand one thing which is very, very important here. So there is no possible. So that within a second, that all the ice particles, the ice molecules, they cannot converted into liquid. So the solid ice particles, they cannot convert it into liquid directly within 1 second, within a particular temperature. So actually it is a slow process. The solid can be converted into liquid. So when you are increasing the temperature, that is minus 10 degrees to 0 degrees. So when you boil this particular liquid, so what happens here? The solid here, it will start melting at a particular B point. So here a point, you should remember a particular major point here. So when it reaches to B point, the melting will start. The melting will not stop here. Melting will start. So after some time, so after completion of certain, the solid is completely converted into liquid. So it will move towards to C here. So at this particular B point, so when you increase the temperature, what happens here? So when you, first of all, when you are increasing the temperature at this particular A point, so that means you are giving certain amount of heat energy. So when you are giving certain amount of heat energy, so the solid particles which are very close contact, which are very, very close in contact, So generally the solid, in case of the solid, the particles are very closely packed. So when you are increasing the heat energy, the particles, the interaction will become very less, and so that this molecule can move freely, so it can easily convert it into liquid. But when it is reaches to point B, some molecules, so let us take only some part of the molecule which is converted into liquid B, so the liquid, but remaining particles all are in only solid here. So that means there is an equilibrium between the solid and liquid. And this particular point here, when you increase the temperature, what happens? So when you increase the temperature here is used. So here at this particular point A, the temperature is completely stored in a solid here. So first of all, when you boil this, when you increase the temperature, when you are applying certain amount of heat energy, the heat energy is stored in a solid at a particular point A. At a particular B point, so here when you increase the temperature, that means whatever the supplied heat energy, it is used to convert the solid into liquid phase here. That means here the whatever the supplied heat energy which is used to convert the solid phase into liquid phase here. That means there is no storage of heat energy. This is also the first law of thermodynamic process. So here you should understand here. So there is a work done here. So the solid is converting into liquid here. So without storage of any energy here. So first at a particular point A, the heat energy is stored here. At a particular point B, the solid which is converted into melting here. So the particular point B, when you supply some amount of heat energy, the heat energy is utilized to do work here. So what work here? So it must utilize the heat energy to convert the solid phase into liquid phase. So after completion of all the molecules, so all the solid ice particles, after the completion of all the ice particles converting into liquid phase, that is after that. So that is when you reach the point C. So first at point A, only solid is there. So the heat energy is stored here. So after some time, when it is reaches to point B, so there is no storage of heat energy. The supplied heat energy is used to convert the solid phase into liquid phase, and the process which is called isothermal process. Isothermal process means iso, that is same temperature. So this is also one of the thermodynamic process which is very, very important. That is isothermal process. So iso, that is same, at the same temperature. So because the temperature is constant here. Why? Because the temperature is not increasing here, because so when you increase the temperature is not storing here. So it is particularly it is using or it is utilized to do work here. The work is nothing but the conversion of solid into liquid phase here. But it is when it is reached to C point. So that means the solid particles are completely converted into liquid. So after again, if you increase the temperature, the liquid will move on to the right side again. So let us take it is the point D here. So that means again there is an equilibrium between the liquid and again the gaseous phase here. That means here the liquid is converting, liquid will start evaporation. So that is at 100 degrees Celsius. You know that the boiling point of water which is 100 degrees Celsius. So at 100 degrees Celsius, that means the liquid will start evaporation. The vapors will be produced here at a particular point D here. Again, if you increase the temperature at 101, 102, 103, there is no change of temperature. That is, you can see here, it is a particular point here, because the temperature, whatever the supplied heat energy, which is used to convert all the liquid particles into the vapor phase. So after completion of all the particles, after the conversion of all the liquid particles into vapor phase, this point will move towards this point. Let us say it is the point E here. So once again, I'm telling you, let us take the point A here. This is the A point, and this is B point, and this is C, and this is D, and this is E. Let us take it. Okay, this 5 points you should remember. So first A is only solid here. So here there is at a particular A, and once again I'm writing here A is only solid phase here. So A is only solid phase here, and B is nothing but which is a solid and also liquid phase here. So solid which is equilibrium with the liquid phase, and again C point which is only liquid phase is there. Again the D point which is liquid is equilibrium with the gaseous phase. Again at E point here, so that is only gaseous phase is there. That means at a particular constant pressure, that is 760 mmHg, that is 1 atmospheric pressure. So by taking the temperature, by varying the temperature, so that is from minus 10 degrees Celsius and 0 degrees, and C that is 25 degrees Celsius. Let us take the room temperature, again the 100 degrees Celsius, and at this particular E point, let us take this is 200 degrees Celsius. So you can take, by varying the temperature, what happens? So by varying the temperature, what happens here? So first of all, solid is there. The solid, it will start melting, so that there is an equilibrium between solid and liquid. After some time, again increasing the temperature, if the completely all the ice particles can be converted into liquid again here. So first A to B, that is at minus 10 degrees to here the 0 degrees Celsius. So A is moving towards to B. The solid is melting will start. So at B point there is a solid and a liquid phase. Two phases are there. At C point again only liquid phase is there. That is at 0 degrees from C, at C point, that is 0 to 25 degrees. So 0 to 25 degrees, B, C, from moving towards to B to C, only liquid phase will appear and the liquid phase. And after C to D again, so D is that is 100 degrees Celsius, again from 25 to 100, you will get again the liquid evaporation will start, that is liquid and gas, and again D to E again only gaseous phase is there. That means here by varying the temperature, what happens? What happens? Simply the phase will changing. So that is solid is converting into slowly liquid, and liquid is converted slowly into gaseous phase. So this particular phase diagram will explain this thing. So this is very, very interesting here. So at a particular temperature, what happens? So a particular B point, the particular B point and a D point. So B point, which is called the melting point, that is 0 degrees Celsius, and D point, which is 100 degrees Celsius, this is called the boiling point of water. So D, which is called the boiling point, and B, which is called melting point or freezing point. So you can take the 0 degrees as melting point or freezing point, both are same. The process is different. I will explain you in detail further. So once again, I'm telling you, so this particular from solid which is moving to this, and again it is moving like this. When you are moving to right side like this, increasing the temperature, the solid is converting into liquid, liquid is converting into gaseous phase. But in between this particular curve, so there is an equilibrium between the solid to liquid and liquid to gas. So let us start with the curve. So what actually this curve, and we'll understand this. So let us take a particular curve. So I'm taking, so let us take, so once again I'm telling you, let us say this is minus 10 degrees Celsius. So a point here. So this particular point here, that is at 1 atmospheric pressure. So there is only solid phase is there. So this is completely solid phase is there. So at this particular minus 10 degrees, only solid is there at minus 10 degrees Celsius. So when you are moving towards the right side like this, so when you are moving towards the right side, so whenever it reaches to this point, so that is at 0 degrees, the melting will start. That means this solid particle is slowly converting into the liquid particles. That means there is a solid and also liquid, solid and a liquid. So there is a solid and liquid, because slowly the ice particles are slowly melting will start. So at particular 0 degrees, the melting will start. So again, this point is very, very important here. This point is called melting point or freezing point. Both are, the process is different, but melting point is 0 degrees or freezing point is also different. Because the solid, the conversion of solid to liquid, which is called the melting, and the conversion of solid to liquid to solid, which is called freezing. So at this particular 0 degrees, melting point curve, or you can call it as a freezing point of water. Now let us see. So when you are reaching this particular point, again I'm writing here B, A and B. So let us take a particular solid. So this is A and this is B. A and B. So particular A point and this is B point. So at A point, so first of all, A point, only solid is there. Only solid is there. But when it is reaching to B point, that is the solid is there and also the liquid is there. So that is, this is at minus 10 degrees Celsius and this is 0 degrees Celsius. So one point you should remember here. So what happens, see here. So see here. So whenever we are moving towards to this A to B, the solid is converting into the liquid. So at this particular point B, that means at a temperature that is 0 degrees temperature. Suddenly if you start, so when the conversion of solid to liquid, so the process is by increasing the temperature. So by the increasing temperature means by using, you can apply the heat energy by using flame. So you can measure this by using a thermometer like this. So you can measure the temperature of a particular solid phase or liquid phase by using thermometer. So after some time, so let us take at a point A, so at minus 10 degrees, and we are supplying the heat energy by using a flame. So whenever it reaches to C point, suddenly the temperature is kept constant. That means remove the flame. So whatever the supply the heat energy, first remove the heat energy. So what happens here? There is an equilibrium between the two phases here. That is two phases, nothing but one is a solid and another one is liquid phase here. Now here we will understand the degrees of freedom at this particular point. So here this particular point A, so this particular point A and this particular point B. So what is the degrees of freedom? That is F is equal to C minus P plus 2. How many components are there? Let us take at A point. At A point, the components will be one. Only one component is there, that is the water system. At A point, how many phases are there? Definitely it is only solid one phase is there. That is one phase plus 2. That means 1 minus 1, 0 plus 2. That is 2. So that means here there are 2 degrees of freedom here. So what is the meaning of degrees of freedom? We will understand here. So let us take a beaker again here. So we will understand this degrees of freedom here. So at a particular point A, so definitely the solid particles are there. So there is a solid particles are there again like this. So these are the solid crystals like this again. So this is only pure solid is there. So that is A. At a particular point A, only the ice particles are there. So here the degrees of freedom is 2. So what is the degrees of freedom? 2 here. So degrees of freedom is nothing but, so the number of variables that can be freely moved. That means the variables, what are the variables here? Definitely there is a temperature and a pressure. Temperature, pressure, these two are the variables on the x-axis, y-axis. So at a particular point A, the number of variables that can be freely moved is 2. So that we should understand here. How it is 2, you can easily explain. So let us take again. So I'm taking again. So let us take a point A again, this, and this is B. So when you increase the temperature or when you decrease the temperature, so when you increase the temperature means you have to move right side like this. When you decrease the temperature means you have to move left side. When you increase the pressure, that means you have to move top side, that is upside. And you have to decrease the pressure means you have to go downward. So when you move onto the right side or when you move onto the left side, that is you can increase the temperature or you can decrease the temperature. When you move upside, that is the pressure, you can increase the pressure or decrease the pressure. What happens? Is there any change in a physical state of matter? So there is no change in the physical state of a matter. That you can easily understand. This is a solid phase only. The area, this is also solid phase. This is also solid phase. This is also solid phase. That means there is no change in the phase. That means you can change the temperature and the pressure. So you can change, you can increase the temperature or you can decrease the temperature. There is no change at A point. You can increase the pressure or decrease the temperature, decrease the pressure. There is no change at this particular A point. At a particular A point, So we can move easily two variables, that is temperature and pressure. You can easily move these two variables. One is temperature and another one is pressure. So if you can increase the temperature or decrease the temperature. You can increase the pressure or decrease the pressure. There is no change in the solid phase here. So that means we can easily move two variables. That can be easily understood with the observation. You can easily observe the phase diagram. The area you can explain easily. The phase diagram, the degrees of freedom, that is two variables that can be freely, that can easily freely they can move here. So that can be identified by using the phase rule, that is the given a particular phase rule, that is F is equal to C minus P2. F is equal to C minus P plus 2. So by using this phase rule also, we can easily identify the degrees of freedom at a particular point A, whatever may be. You can take a particular point A, B, C, whatever may be. So let us take another point here. Let us take a point A here. So if you increase the temperature, that means right side, there is no change in the phase. Or decrease the temperature, there is no phase, there is no change, there is no change. So that means you can change the temperature and pressure. That means the number of variables is 2. So you can change these two variables to any time. So you can increase or decrease, there is no change in the phase. So that is the degrees of freedom is 2 here. So at this particular area, you can take any point. You can take the point here, 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 here. You can take anywhere. The degrees of freedom is only 2 here, because it can increase or decrease. There is no change in the phase. The degrees of freedom itself 2 here. So let us move on to the next point. So let us take a point here. This is A point, and again let us take this is B point. You have to move towards to B point. Again, you calculate the degrees of freedom. That is F is equal to C minus P plus 2. That is F is equal to C minus P plus 2. Number of components will be 1 and number of phases will be, again here 2 phases are there, because there is an equilibrium between the solid phase and the liquid phase. So that is the number of phases will be 2 and 1 minus 2 plus 2. That is 1 minus 2 means that is 1 minus 2 means that is minus 1 plus 2, that is 1. So here the degrees of freedom is 1 here. So that you should understand here. That means here you can move easily only one variable. You can easily move only one variable on this particular curve. So on this particular curve. So let us take a point again here, point B. So again I am taking the point B here. So if you increase the temperature, what happens here? So increase the temperature, decrease the temperature, pressure, increase the pressure or decrease the pressure. So what happens? So first of all, you can increase the temperature. By increasing the temperature, what happens? So first of all, there is so I will take again a beaker here. And here at this particular point B, so this particular point is B here. So there is an equilibrium between the solid and the liquid phase. That means the solid ice particles are there, and there is also the liquid also there. So that means the water molecules are also there. So at this particular point B, there is a solid and a liquid. So both are in equilibrium. So when you increase the temperature, so first when you increase the temperature, what happens? So the solid ice is completely converted into liquid phase, because the solid is completely the point this B, it is moving towards to C point here. So it is moving towards to C point means that is the ice particles are converting into the liquid phase here. So the ice particles are converting into liquid phase here. So you can decrease the temperature. So when you decrease the temperature again the solid completely, the liquid particles are completely converting into solid phase here. So here you can easily understand that by increasing the temperature, the ice completely converting into liquid. By decreasing the temperature, the water molecules are completely converted into solid phase. You can increase the pressure. So increase the pressure, the solid which is completely converted into liquid, and the particular point you can decrease the pressure, again you will get completely the solid here. So that means at this particular point B, so whatever the point B on this particular curve, so you can change this, you cannot try to change these particular variables like temperature and pressure. So if you change the temperature and pressure at a time, so if you change the pressure and pressure, so if you change the pressure and temperature at this particular point, so if you change the temperature and pressure, if you change the temperature, definitely the equilibrium will disturb. So if you change the pressure, then also the equilibrium definitely it is disturbed. That means if you increase the temperature or pressure, so the equilibrium between the solid and the liquid, so it definitely it will be disturbed. That means there may not be solid and liquid equilibrium. So that means if you maintain there is no change in the equilibrium, then only it is called the degrees of freedom. So degrees of freedom at this particular point is 1, that is calculated by using the Gibbs space rule, that is F is equal to C minus P plus 2. So what is the reason for this? That you should understand here. So if you, that means here 1 means you can easily move one variable. The degrees of freedom here 1 means you can easily move only one variable. So what is the one variable? That may be pressure or temperature. So let us take, if you increase the pressure like this, increase the pressure, definitely the temperature is also decreasing like this. So I'm taking specific, and let us take the point on any curve like this. So you can take the point on a curve like this. So you can take the curve, you can take the point on this particular curve. So if you can increase the temperature, that means again you are decreasing the temperature itself. Again, if you increase the temperature it is decreasing. That means if you can change only one particular pressure or temperature, automatically the another will be automatically fixed. Definitely that means you can change only one variable. If you change the pressure, then the temperature will be automatically fixed. Definitely if you change the pressure means definitely the temperature will change on this particular curve. So this particular curve, so on this particular curve, so if you increase the pressure, temperature will change automatically. If you increase the pressure, automatically change. You can, whatever you can do anything. Definitely you can change only one variable, so that automatically the another one will be fixed here. So not only pressure, you can take the temperature. If you decrease the temperature, the pressure will be decreased like this. So sorry, if you increase the temperature, that is moving on to right side, that is the temperature is increased. So if you increase the temperature, the pressure is decreased like this. So if you increase the pressure and here the temperature, if you fix one thing, then automatically we can fix another one. So here you should understand here. So in this particular area, the degrees of freedom 2 here, and you can take the point here also 2 here also 2 here. So the degrees of freedom on these three areas, definitely it is 2 here. So this area will be degrees of freedom 2, here also 2, here also 2 here. So why? Because so you can take the point here or here or here. You can move the temperature on right side or left side. That means you can increase or decrease. You can increase the pressure or decrease the pressure. Here also you can increase the pressure or decrease the pressure. You can increase the temperature or decrease the temperature. Here also increase the pressure, decrease the pressure. Increasing the temperature and decreasing the pressure. So you can change two variables. So you can change the two variables at a time. So there is no change in the phase. So the degrees of freedom, that is at this area, that is 2 here, 2 here. So but in case of this curve, so here the degrees of freedom on this curve, which is only 1 here. So you have the right to only change one variable. So because if you change the another thing, definitely the phase will be changed. Definitely the equilibrium will disturb. If you take at a time, if you want to change two variables at a time, if you increase the pressure and if you want to change again, decrease the temperature like this, it is moving on to some other thing. So you should understand one thing, that there is only one way. So there is only one variable that can be freely moved without disturbing of any equilibrium. So on this particular curve. So you are again moving on to this right side again like this. So when you are again moving towards this liquid, you are moving to again this side and this side. So that is A, B, C, D, and E. So here there is only solid phase here. Here liquid phase is there. Sorry, here solid plus liquid, both are there. Here only liquid is there. Again here liquid plus gas is there. Here only gas is there. So the phases you should remember here. So after the phase, you can easily understand the degrees of freedom. So the degrees of freedom on this particular area, which is 2 here, here also 2 here. And the curves, which is 1 here also 1, here also 1. So that can be easily calculated with the degrees of freedom, the phase rule, and you can easily understand that also. So let us understand now the curves of this OA, OB, and OC. So all these curves, let us understand one by one. OA, OB, YC, why actually the curve is moving towards to this and this side, why it is not moving curve to this side. So let us understand all the curves areas. So one by one. So let us understand the curve first. So this particular curve here, see here. So this particular curve is called, that is OC, is nothing but which is a freezing point curve. Freezing point curve or melting point curve. Melting point curve, or it is also called fusion curve. It is also called fusion curve. So the curve itself, OC, is also called freezing point curve, melting point curve, or fusion curve. So what is actually the difference between melting and freezing? Solid is moving towards to liquid, and solid is moving towards, the liquid is moving towards the solid. So when you are melting means the conversion of solid to liquid, this is melting, and the liquid is converting into solid, this is freezing. So on this particular curve OC, on this particular curve OC, so this curve is called the melting point curve or freezing point curve. So let us understand this curve one thing. So see here. So let us take a point here. Again, once again, I'm taking a point here. So what is actually the melting point? What is actually the melting point? And what is actually the freezing point? So everyone know about the melting point and the boiling point in your intermediate classes. So whatever may be, we will understand again once again the freezing point and melting point. So melting point is nothing but, generally the people will understand that melting point is nothing but the point at which the melting will start. So definitely it is true, but the point at which the temperature, the melting will start at a pressure that is 1 atmospheric pressure. So that is very important thing here. So at this particular point, so here the pressure which is 1 atmospheric pressure. So here you should remember that in the atmosphere, generally the atmospheric pressure, the 1 atmospheric pressure. So at this particular pressure, 1 atmospheric pressure, the melting point which is 0 degrees. So this is the melting point. Melting point of water, this is 0 degrees. That everyone know about this. You can again consider that freezing point also, that is 0 degrees Celsius. But at what pressure? The pressure is very important. This pressure is very important. It is directly related with temperature. That is also given by the gas laws also. So here you should understand here, the pressure and the temperature are both are interrelated here. You cannot directly say that the boiling point, the melting point, freezing point is nothing but, the melting point is nothing but the melting, the point at which the melting will start, the point at which the freezing will start, the point at which the boiling will start. You cannot say directly like that. So the point at which the temperature, the boiling will start, at what pressure? At the atmospheric pressure, at 1 atmospheric pressure. That is very important here. So if you consider a particular point here, this point is a freezing point of water at 1 atmospheric pressure. So our melting point of water at 1 atmospheric pressure, and this point is also, this is the boiling point. This is boiling point. This is boiling point of water. So everyone know that the boiling point which is 100 degrees of water. So is there, so something I want to ask you a question that, so is there any change in the boiling point of water? So definitely the boiling point is 100 degrees, or any some other, any temperature like 200, 300, 400 like that. So the boiling point is 100 degrees, but at 1 atmospheric pressure. That is very important here. So the boiling point here only 1 atmospheric pressure, that is 100 degrees. So if you increase, let us say if you increase the pressure. So if you increase the pressure, so if you increase the pressure, what happens? So increase the pressure, let us take the point, it is here 1 atmospheric pressure. Let us take it is a 10 atmospheric pressure. So what is the boiling point here? So boiling will start at this particular point. So the boiling, it will start here. So that means, let us take it is a 200 degrees Celsius. That means at 10 atmospheric pressure, so by the increasing the pressure, we are increasing the pressure, the boiling point again, it is also increasing here. The boiling point again, it is also increasing here. So that you should understand here. The pressure, when you increase the pressure, the boiling point will increases here of this particular water system. So here we should understand one thing here, that when you increase the pressure, again the boiling point will also be increases here. So this is the very important thing, because everyone knows that the boiling point is only 100 degrees. So the 100 degrees is only at the pressure which is 1 atmospheric pressure. So you can also see this in whatever the pressure cooker. So in the pressure cooker, so they will apply more pressure. So we can easily boil a particular whatever the cooking items, even with high temperature. So let us take, if you take the, you can take the dal, you can take any curry or rice or dal. So the rice, I think the red gram. So whatever the dal, it cannot generally, it cannot easily boil, it cannot cook directly at 100 degrees Celsius. So generally it needs 200 degrees Celsius. So it needs 200 degrees Celsius. So I want to tell you here the example here. So the rice or dal, generally you can take the dal. So the whatever the dal cooker, so you can take the cooker. So dal generally it cooks at 200 degrees. So it cooks at generally 200 degrees Celsius. So that means, so it needs 200 degrees Celsius of temperature of a water molecule. So there is no water generally at 100 degrees Celsius at 1 atmospheric pressure. So generally, if you take a bowl and you can take a vessel and you can take a bowl and you can take the dal with whatever some amount of water and you can heat. So you can boil this particular, or by applying some, by supplying heat energy by using stove or flame. So we are cooking a particular dal on a stove. So that is at 1 atmospheric pressure. Generally in the nature, generally the atmosphere itself 1 atmospheric pressure. So 1 atmospheric pressure, generally the water molecule which is present, the dal which is present in this water molecule. So definitely the water molecule, when it is reached to 100 degrees Celsius, water will be completely evaporated. So after 101, it is 100 degrees Celsius. After 101, what happens here? Definitely the water will be easily evaporated. So that completely the water will be evaporated. Completely the dal which is completely dried up. So what happens? It cannot cook as early as possible. That means it actually needs 200 degrees Celsius, but there is no possible. So what happens? If you increase the pressure, you can easily increase the boiling point of water, that is 200 degrees Celsius. So in the cookers, like pressure cooker, so we'll increase the pressure. So increase the pressure, the boiling point of water will increases. It reaches to 200 degrees Celsius. That means at 200 degrees Celsius also there will be a liquid. There will be a liquid that is so very hot, so that dal can be easily cooked or easily cooks on that particular water molecule. So that means, so you should remember one thing here, that so by increasing the pressure, the boiling point will also increases. The boiling point itself, the point at which the boiling will start, but at what pressure? At 1 atmospheric pressure, it is called the boiling point. So if you increase the pressure, definitely the boiling point will increase. If you decrease the pressure, the boiling point will decrease. That means the pressure is directly in relation with the boiling point of water. That is one thing you should remember here. So see here, by understanding this particular phase diagram, we can get many topics. So in the nature, we can understand many things, like the cooker, rice cooker, or a pressure cooker. So that is also one of the principle that can be also understood with the phase diagram. Not only that thing, we can understand many things. So let us understand one by one. So here the boiling point means this thing. And what is the melting point? So melting point. So the melting point and freezing point. Whenever the solid is converting into liquid, that is melting point. And whenever the liquid is converting into solid, that is the freezing point. So here the point at which generally they will call the point at which melting will start. The point at which the temperature at which the freezing will start. But it is not correct. Actually, it's pressure. It's what pressure. So at what pressure? So you can take this particular point. So this particular point is called the freezing point of water or melting point of water at 1 atmospheric pressure. So that is very, very important here. So here again, so this is very, very important thing here. So students, so here one thing you should understand here. So let me increase the pressure. So let me increase the pressure of this particular point. So let me increase the pressure at a constant temperature. So that let us take a particular beaker again, a vessel like this, and the point B here again. So a point B, let us take the point B here. So at that particular point B, there is an equilibrium between the solid and the liquid here. So that means there is a solid particles are there. Again, the liquid particles are there. So there will be a solid and a liquid. So there is a solid and also liquid. So this comes, let us take it is a solid, and the blue color comes, which is a liquid. So there is a solid and a liquid at this particular point B. So that is at a 0 degree Celsius. So it is 0 degree Celsius. So now, so it's 0 degree Celsius. And now let us say, so I want to increase the pressure. So I'm increasing the pressure, increasing the pressure. So what happens by increasing the pressure? So by increasing the pressure, what happens? So by increasing the pressure, so this particular point B, which move towards to this area, that is a liquid phase. That means all the particles, the solid is completely easily melt into liquid completely. That means when you increase the pressure at a constant temperature, what happens? Completely suddenly the solid completely is converting into liquid phase here. So here the solid completely, it will, the solid which is completely converted into liquid phase here. So by the increasing pressure, the solid particles are completely converted into liquid here. So here the students, so here you will get a question. So you will get a doubt here one thing. So you must understand, you must know here that by increasing the pressure, so what happens? The solid is converting into liquid. Is it correct? Why? Because so if you increasing the pressure, so let us take a gaseous particle. So first of all, I will take the gaseous particle. If you increase the pressure, what happens? So that means you can compress. So I will take a vessel again, and this is a piston. And if you take the gas molecules, and these are the gas molecules, and if you compress this, and that if you take the piston, if you compress this particular system, so that means if you increase the pressure, what happens? So this gas molecules is converted into solid. Sorry, the gas molecules are converted into liquid here. So again, if you increase the pressure, generally it must be moved towards to liquid. So here at this particular point, you are increasing the pressure. Here the solid is converting into liquid. Here the question, you should understand that. So generally a gas becomes to liquid, liquid becomes to solid by increasing the pressure. So by the compression, when we compress a particular gas, so definitely it becomes liquid. Again, if you applying more pressure means the molecules will they must come closer, and so that it must form as a solid. So most gas molecules, they can easily, freely, they can move towards like that. So when you increase the pressure, that means we are pressing the particular gaseous system. So the molecules will come closer. The molecules will come closer as a liquid phase. They will again come closer to become a solid phase. So here you will get a question that, so that here in case of this water system, when you increase the pressure, so it is converting into liquid phase. It is a reverse. The solid is converting into liquid. So is it possible? So is it correct or wrong? So that you should understand here. So for that you need to understand that generally in case of the right side, if you increase the pressure, the boiling point, which is increases. So that means if you increase the pressure, the boiling point will increase. So on this particular curve, so boiling pressure increases, boiling point decreases. Pressure decreases, the boiling point will decreases. Generally, the diagram will looks like this. So you can easily see this particular line. So that is very good. But in case of this left side, the freezing point, here the curve is on left side like this. So that means the pressure is inversely relation with the freezing point or the melting point. So why? The question you should understand here. So you should arise this particular doubt here. So because the pressure is directly relation with boiling point, but the pressure is inversely relation with the freezing point or the melting point. When you increase the pressure, so see here, when you increase the pressure, so see here, so when you are increasing the pressure, so what happens? The temperature is decreasing here. See here. So again, let us say if you increase the temperature, when you increase the temperature like this, so or you can decrease the temperature. So see here, when you decrease the temperature, what happens? The pressure is increasing. So here the point you should remember here, the pressure is inversely relation with the freezing point or melting point. So that means here, so the freezing point at this particular point, so it is decreases when you increase the pressure. So this is a reverse with the boiling point. So why? What is the reason? So that you should understand here one thing. So that is very simple. So see here. So here remember that. So generally the freezing point of water which is 0 degrees Celsius. So everyone know that the freezing point of water which is 0 degrees Celsius. So when you increase the pressure, the freezing point again it is decreases because it is moving towards to this. So that means this particular point which is 1 atmospheric pressure. So you can take here, let us take it is 25 atmospheric pressure. That let us take a point here. That means here. That means we are increasing the pressure. Then the freezing point can be, let us take it is minus 10 degrees Celsius. So minus 10, that means the freezing point is decreased here. So generally the freezing point again it is decreased by increasing the pressure. So what is the reason here? So this is only for the water molecule. This is the special behavior of this water system. So generally you can take the other than this water system, this line actually it should be like this. So actually this also this melting point curve, this line also should be like this. But for the water system it is like this. So what is the reason? Let me understand here. So the volume of ice, once again I am telling you here that the volume of ice is always the greater than the volume of liquid. The point here you should remember that ice will occupy more volume than the volume of liquid. So this is very, very important here. So the volume of ice. So everyone will think that so the volume of ice, the solid after melting, the volume will be decreases or increases. Definitely the amount of the water molecule in ice, the weight, the density, that you should remember here. The volume of ice actually which is higher. The volume. So during the freezing, that is the liquid is converting into solid. The freezing process, the liquid is converting into the solid. That means during the freezing process, the liquid is converting into solid. So during this particular process, the freezing, so the water molecule is converting into ice. So during this, the process of water to ice, so what happens? So the expansion takes place. So that means ice occupies the major volume than the water molecule. That means the water molecule, so during the process of ice, they will occupy the more volume. So the expansion will take place. So this is due to hydrogen bonding. In detail, I will explain in the next session. But you have to understand one thing that, so that during the process of freezing, ice, so why actually, I will also explain here also, see here. So the pressure generally, so see here, when you increase the pressure, the volume must decrease. So you know that means if you increase the pressure like this, so you can take the piston, and if you increase the pressure, so if you increase the pressure, if you compress the liquid, definitely the volume must come closer, the volume must decrease. So here the volume of ice or liquid, which one is very less? So that means you can take again a beaker like this. I'm taking a beaker again, and here there is a solid phase and a liquid phase. So again, I'm increasing the pressure. So I'm increasing the pressure. So by using a piston. So let us take a piston like this. So I'm taking a piston here. So what happens? See here. So I'm increasing the pressure here. So what happens? So the volume must decreases like this. So the volume must decreases. So the volume of ice is very high comparing with the liquid. So the volume of a liquid which is very less. Hence, by increasing the pressure, completely the solid. So to stable that means to maintain the equilibrium. So to stabilize a particular system, all the solid particles are completely converted into liquid. Because the liquid volume is very less, definitely if you increase the pressure, the volume must decrease. That you can see also in the Boyle's law of the gas law, that if you increase the pressure, the volume must decrease. So the liquid has having lesser volume. So all the solid particles, the ice crystals completely converted into liquid here. So this you should remember here. So here the volume of ice is very higher comparing with the liquid. So what is the density? What about the density? So density is nothing but, so generally the density generally it is density is equal to mass by volume. Density is equal to mass by volume. So density, that is inversely relation with the volume. So that means here I am taking the ice volume. Ice volume is more than the liquid. Ice volume is more than in the liquid. So in case of volume, that is ice will occupy more than the liquid. But what about the density? Ice will occupy very less than liquid, because the density which is inversely relation with the volume. Hence only the ice floats on a water. So I think this comes under, actually this you have already studied in the intermediate. Always ice will float on a water. So ice will always float on a water. So definitely it is true. So because ice will have very less density, so that it is always floats on a water. So I will show you some pictures so you can easily understand those things. So see here. So you see here, the ice floats on water. So see here, always the ice floats on a water because the density is very low comparing with the water molecule. See here, the icebergs present on the ocean. So icebergs present on the ocean. Generally, in the ocean also, the icebergs which are present in a glaciers like that, they can be called as a glacier. So the ice generally floats on a water because the density is very less, because the volume is very high. So density and volume both are inversely relation with each other. The volume is very high. So volume very high, density will be very low. Hence it can float on a water. So see here the penguins which are present on a penguins which are present on a ice cubes here. So see here, generally this ice floats on a water. So that is very important. That is very important thing here. So because so see here, once again I want to tell you here, you need to understand that the volume of ice. So here the ice. So here the volume of ice is greater than the water in case of volume. Again, in case of density, the ice will have very less density than water. You should remember these 2 points. And so see here. So this particular point, when you increase the pressure, so once again I'm taking this beaker, and here there is a solid and a liquid. And when you increase the pressure, so definitely the freezing point again decreases. Completely this particular point is moving towards to this. That means the solid is completely converting into liquid here. So that point you should remember here. So on this particular point here, so that means when you increase the pressure, the freezing point, which is inversely relation with each other, are freezing point, or you can also call it as a melting point here. So that is very important thing here. So let us move on to the next point. So this particular point and this particular point, and this is a boiling point, and this is a freezing point or melting point. And pressure is directly relation with the boiling point, and inversely relation with the freezing point or melting point. So those points you should remember. So now let us move on to this next point. Again, so let us take this particular point again. Again, the solid and liquid both are there, because that particular point means definitely there is a liquid and solid, because it is equilibrium with both solid and liquid. Now see here. So here again I'm using a piston here and above the surface, and below I'm using again the flame to boil a particular whatever the water system. And now see here. So when you move on to the when you move again on this side, so we are moving towards like this. So when you are moving towards to this side, it means that you are moving to right side. That means what? You are increasing the temperature. So first the temperature, it must be increased. First, again the pressure. So what happens? The pressure. So the pressure. So what happens when you are moving towards to this side? That means the pressure is moving towards downside. That means the pressure is decreasing. The pressure is decreasing. So that means this piston must be lifted up, because the pressure you have to decrease and temperature you should increase. That means you have to boil more. You have to supply more energy at this particular point. So that you should remember here. So I'm taking this particular point. I'm moving towards the downside. That means I'm taking this particular mixture and I'm using a flame here, and I'm using a flame here and taking a piston here, and see here there is a solid and a liquid. At this particular point there is a equilibrium. So now we are moving towards the downward through this particular point. So here I am decreasing the pressure and increasing the temperature. So that means this piston must be lifted up and the temperature must increase. That means you have to boil more. So what happens? Definitely solid plus liquid, solid plus liquid. So definitely there will be equilibrium between the solid and liquid. So when you are moving towards to like this, so when you are again moving towards like this, that means the piston slowly it is moving towards to upside, and the water, the boiling is completely we are increasing so much of heat energy. And when it is moving towards to this particular point, so this is very interesting point, because the point O, whenever it reaches to point O, suddenly the vaporization will start, because there is a gaseous phase. There is a gaseous phase here. The gaseous phase which is attaching at this particular point O. That means suddenly the vaporization will start. The vaporization will start means suddenly the liquid it will, because we are increasing the temperature and we are decreasing the pressure. We are decreasing the pressure. So see here, the pressure we are decreasing and the temperature we are increasing. So what happens when the temperature, if you are increasing, what happens? So when you are increasing the temperature, we are supplying the heat energy, so that the molecules they can be easily freely they can move, so that the vaporization will start. The pressure, when you decrease the pressure, that means the piston which is moving towards to upside, so that the vapors can be easily escaped, so that suddenly the liquid particles slowly they will start evaporation. So whenever it reaches to point O, suddenly the vaporization will start. That means there exists a three physical states as a solid phase, liquid phase, and a gaseous phase. So that means a particular point here. So one. So whenever it reaches to this particular point O, so whenever it reaches to particular point O, so you will get a three-state equilibrium. So see here. So this particular state, there is a solid phase. This is a solid, that is green color, and there's blue color which is liquid, and something like violet blue, this is gaseous phase. That means there is a particular point, the point at which there exists three phases in a equilibrium. One is solid phase, liquid phase, and a gaseous phase. So what is particular point? So what is that particular point? The point which is called the triple point. So this is called triple point because there is three phases are existing at that particular point. So the triple point, the pressure which is at the pressure and the temperature which is 4058 mmHg or 4.058 mmHg or 0.006 atmospheric pressure or 0.0075075 degrees Celsius. And that is a particular point where we can there exists three state equilibrium. That means we can get three physical states at a time. So that is very interesting part here because this particular point. So what is the degrees of freedom here? What is the degrees of freedom here? So degrees of freedom you can calculate here. F is equal to C minus P plus 2. So F is equal to C minus P plus 2. That means here that so F is equal to C. How many number of compounds are there? 1. How many number of phases are there? 3 phases are there. 2 here. So 1 minus 3, that is minus 2, plus 2, that is 0. That means the degrees of freedom, it is 2 here, 0 here. That means what actually the 0 indicates? That means there is no variable that can be easily freely moved, so that the physical, whatever the state, the equilibrium will not change. That means, so 0 means here that, so you cannot change any variable. If you change what temperature or pressure, if you change the temperature, what happens? If you increase the temperature like this, it moves towards to gaseous phase. If you increase the pressure, it moves towards to liquid phase. If you decrease the temperature, it moves towards to solid phase. If you again decrease the pressure, it moves towards to gaseous phase. That means the point you cannot have right to change any particular variable, because if you change any variable, definitely the system, the equilibrium will disturb. So there must be a solid phase, liquid phase, and gaseous phase. So the three phases must be in equilibrium at a particular point. A particular point is called the triple point. The triple point is a fixed. You cannot change the point as temperature, pressure. So the degrees of freedom is 0 now. So degrees of freedom is nothing but the degree of variables that can be freely moved. So there is no possible to freely they can move here. So they cannot, there is no possibility so that they can easily move here. So that here you should understand one thing that here, so they cannot move here. So this point is fixed, that is 0.0075 degrees Celsius, 4.058 mmHg pressure. So this is very important thing here. So this particular point there exists three state equilibrium. So remember that. So on this curve the degrees of freedom is 1. Here also 1. Here also 1. But this area, on this particular area again degrees of freedom is 2. Here also 2. Here also 2. But this particular point, at this particular point only 0 degrees of freedom. There is no way to change the variable. There couldn't be changed any variable, because the equilibrium will definitely disturb, because three state equilibrium it must be there. So here the point at particular point O, the degrees of freedom is 0. This is the phase diagram. So each curve you should understand what is the temperature, what is the boiling point, melting point. So when the boiling point will change, when the melting point will change, when a particular solid is converting into liquid, when a liquid is converting into boiling point, each curve, each step you can easily understand by using this phase diagram. That is the interesting part of this phase diagram. So this curve represents melting and freezing. So this curve represents, so when your liquid is moving towards to gas, that is evaporation. That is evaporation. So again, when this particular gas is moving towards the liquid, that is condensation. Condensation is a process where the gaseous molecules are converting into liquid. liquid is converting into gaseous molecules, that is evaporation. So you can also call as a curve, as a evaporation curve or condensation curve or boiling point curve. So again there is also the another curve. This is another curve which is called sublimation curve. So here also the curve you should remember here. This curve represents the equilibrium between the solid and gas. So let us take the point here. So I will tell you exactly why the sublimation is happening generally in the water system. So see here. So I will take a point here. So we are moving towards downward. That means we are decreasing the temperature and we are decreasing the pressure. So pressure we are decreasing and the temperature we are decreasing. So when you temperature, so first of all, let us say, so here there is a, here the system is solid and a liquid and gaseous. Both the three phases are there at a particular point O. So what happens first when you decrease the pressure and decrease the temperature? You know that by decreasing the pressure and temperature. So first of all, let us take the temperature. So when you particularly when you decrease the temperature, what happens? By cooling, it means cooling, freezing. When you keep the liquid in a particular refrigerant, what happens? It becomes solid. So by decreasing the temperature, it means that it is supporting the solid phase. By decreasing the temperature means it is supporting the solid phase. When you decreasing the pressure, so when you decreasing the pressure, so pressure means by using the piston. So when you are applying a piston here, so when you decreasing the pressure means the pressure must be lifted up. So how much? The pressure must be lifted up. The pressure must be lifted up. That means here the pressure must be decreased so that the gaseous molecules they can be freely move in a particular region. So that means here that so this the decreasing pressure it indicates that it is supporting the gaseous phase. Hence, there is no intermediate of liquid phase. Directly, the gaseous molecules are converted into solid phase, or a solid is converting into gaseous phase through that particular curve, which is called the sublimation curve. Sublimation curve. So this particular curve is also very important thing here. So see here, the conversion of solid to gas is called the sublimation. Sublimation and the gaseous to solid, which is called deposition. The process which is called deposition. And here the solid to liquid is called melting, and liquid to solid, which is called the freezing. This process also you should remember. So liquid to gas, this is called evaporation. This is called evaporation. And again the liquid to gaseous to liquid, this is called condensation. This process also you should remember. So here we can understand that by using this phase diagram, when the melting will start, freezing will start, evaporation will start, condensation will start, sublimation will start, deposition will start. So everything we can understand by varying the temperature and pressure. So that is the important thing of this phase diagram. So really you can understand that the phase diagram will explain all the process of different matters. So not only this water system, I'm taking the example of water system, but you can take the CO2, so sulfur, you can take any alloys like zinc, magnesium, you can take any chemical substances. So you will get the melting point, freezing point, evaporation, condensation, sublimation, deposition, everything. The process can be easily understood by using the temperature and pressure, the concentration value. Those variables, they are the factors they will decide. So which process actually it must be continuous. It may be melting or freezing. So they can be explained. Those can be explained with the variation of the temperature and pressure. So that is the important thing here. So see here. So these all the curves. So they will explain different process. So that this OA curve will explain the boiling point or vaporization, and this curve will explain the melting point or boiling point. This curve will explain the sublimation or deposition. And there is a remaining one curve is there. That also you should remember. So what is that curve? Which is this curve OA dash. This is the metastable curve. Metastable curve. So we'll understand the metastable curve. What is the metastable curve? That is OA dash. OA dash. So what is the metastable curve? So OA dash actually it is a separate curve. It is actually the extension of this boiling point curve. Extension of the boiling point curve. So the boiling point curve, on this particular boiling point, there is an equilibrium between the liquid and a gas. So that means there is a liquid. So these are the liquid particles and these are the vapor. There is an equilibrium between the liquid and the vapor. So through this particular line. So when you move on like this, what happens? That means what you are doing, the temperature is decreasing. So we are moving like this. Temperature is decreasing. We are moving left side. Temperature is decreasing, and the pressure is also decreasing. Pressure is also decreasing. That means the temperature you are taking this. That means you are cooling this particular system, and your pressure you are decreasing the pressure. That means you are moving the piston towards to upside. So you are lifting the piston up so that the pressure will decrease. So now what happens? So pressure decreases, temperature decreases. So you are like this. So whenever, so continuously from here to here. So see here, there is an equilibrium between the liquid and gas. So after so there must be conversion of the solid phase. There must be a conversion of solid phase. But even though if you are moving less than 0 degrees, it is extended to this OA dash. Let us take it is minus 10 degrees Celsius. At minus 10 degrees Celsius, this particular curve is moving towards like this. That means this particular point. So this particular point, it is actually in a region of solid. But this particular point, it is an extension of this boiling point curve. That means that this particular point, actually this is not a solid. This is also one of the liquid and a gas. So that once again I will explain you. See here, this is the extension of this particular boiling point curve. So that means here there is an equilibrium between the liquid and a gas. Liquid and a gas. So here also you can take the point here, that is minus 10 degrees Celsius. There is also an equilibrium between the liquid and a gas, because this is not only the special curve, it is a extension of this curve which is OA dash. OA, the extension which is OA dash. So here you should understand one thing, that so what is the reason here? So actually when it crosses this particular point O, that means less than 0 degrees, definitely less than 0 degrees. So you know that, so definitely 0 degrees less than, so 0 degrees less than means definitely it must be a solid. But here at minus 10 degrees or minus 20 degrees, there is a liquid phase and also the vapor phase, the gaseous phase, liquid phase and gaseous phase. So why? What is the reason? So actually it must be a solid, because less than 0 degrees, it must be solid. So the water, the freezing point which is 0 degrees. So less than 0, definitely it must be solid, but it is not happening here. So that's why it is called the metastable curve. So actually what happens here? So actually when you are decreasing the pressure, and when you are decreasing the pressure, and also we are decreasing the pressure. So slowly we are doing that. So we are doing like this. So slowly we are doing like this. So there is no change in the equilibrium between the liquid gas. There is no change. So no change. So there is again equilibrium between the liquid gas. So we are decreasing the temperature and pressure, so temperature and gas. So we are slowly decreasing the pressure and temperature. So whenever it reaches to this point OA dash, even though it forgets about the conversion of the solid phase. So that means actually it must be converted into solid phase, but it is not converting because it is already forget. So because slowly we are moving from here to here. So actually it must be converted to solid state. But slowly when we are moving towards downside like this, so it always stays rest like that. So it always feels that. So there is an equilibrium between the liquid gas. So liquid gas, liquid gas, liquid gas, liquid gas, liquid gas. So we are moving downwards like this, liquid gas, liquid gas. So only liquid gas is there. So here also liquid gas, liquid gas, liquid gas. Like this, it is maintaining only liquid gas, but actually it should be solid phase. So this actually it can be done with a very slow process. Actually, you can also done in a slow process. So this is also called supercooled liquid. Supercooled liquid. So supercooling, this process is also called supercooling. That means we must slowly decrease the temperature and pressure so that it must be forget about the conversion of solid. But when you when you remember that, so you must convert into solid phase, definitely it will be converted into solid phase. So I will show you some examples so you can easily understand this. So first of all, there is a liquid and a gaseous phase. So it actually converts, it must be converted, it should convert into solid phase. When you decrease the temperature and the pressure, both are we are decreasing. So when you are decreasing the temperature and pressure, so it must be converted into solid phase. But after some time, it forgets about what actually it must be do. It is actually stay only in the region where it is a liquid phase and gaseous phase. But when you remember, when someone remember that it should convert into solid phase, suddenly it will convert into solid phase. So the process which is also called supercooling, I will that you can easily, actually it is a technical process. We cannot directly, we cannot done, which actually you can in the laboratory you can done this process as a supercooling. So when simply we have to decrease the pressure and temperature with a very slow process, so that so the curve which will be extended and it forgets about the conversion of solid state. So it will become only it will lie only on that particular curve. But when you remember that particular that you should convert into solid phase, so suddenly it will convert it into solid phase. So the curve which itself is called the metastable curve. It is not stable, it is a metastable. So it is stable up to certain time. So if you touch at a time, so if you something you if you remember that, oh, you should convert into solid phase, definitely it will convert into solid phase. So this is called the supercooled liquid or metastable curve. So this I will show actually the experiment I will show in the next session. So till now the graphs you should remember that. So the graphs which include so each curve and areas you should remember. So you should remember the degrees of freedom for each area and the point and this particular point. So this area comes under the degrees of freedom 2. Here also 2. Here also 2. Because you can change any the temperature and pressure. So there is no change in the phase. So the degrees of freedom is 2. But when you take the curves, so the degrees of freedom is 1 here. So degrees of freedom is 1. So you can easily know by using the C minus F is equal to C minus P plus 2. By using this Gibbs space rule, you can easily understand the degrees of freedom. And you can see the point O, this particular point, the degrees of freedom is 0. You cannot change, you cannot have the right to change the particular variables, the temperature and pressure, that is the degrees of freedom. So these are all the phase rule and the phase diagram. So that you can easily understand the different processes like melting point, boiling, so all condensation, sublimation, every process that can be depends on the variation of the temperature and the pressure. So that's why this phase diagram is very important thing. So this by using this phase diagram, so that we can understand how a particular phase will be changed into a different system. So this particular phase diagram will explain us what is a particular point, what is the boiling point, so that we can understand many things. I will show you one example. So simple example. So see here. So this is also one of the application of the phase equilibrium. So see here. So see here, the fishes, they are underwater. They are under the water. So just now only in the last 10 minutes, I already told you that the density of ice is always very less comparing with the water. But the volume of ice is more than the water. So density and volume both are inversely relation with each other. So ice generally floats on the water. So this is due to the hydrogen bonding present in the water molecule. So if it is not happened, if the density of ice is more than, if the density of the ice is higher than the water, what happens? So see here. So if the density of ice is more than the water, what happens? So definitely the ice molecule, the crystal, they must be deposited in the bottom downside. So where in the Antarctica region or the whatever the cold countries, generally the ocean. So in the ocean, generally the ice will be floats on the water. If the density is very high, comparing with the water, they must be deposited under the water. So if this particular, let us take this is the ocean, and these are the layers like this. So these are the layers like this. So when the ice floats on the water, so this is the ice which is floating on the water. So there are the fishes which are under the water like this. So if the density is very high, what happens? So definitely the ice will be deposited on the bottom of the ice. In the Antarctica or cold region, what happens? So generally the temperature is very low. So the temperature, it will decreases. Generally, you can take the temperature like, let us take the temperature which is 20 degrees to 0 degrees. So what happens? The freezing will start. That means the water. So when the density of ice is very high, so the water will be on the top. So the downside, see here. So these are the ice cubes. They are at the bottom of the sea, and the upper layer there will be a water molecule. So when you on cold region, so generally in Antarctica or what Himalayas, so generally the water, so generally always the water, so definitely the temperature is very low, so that they can be easily converted into ice as a solid, so that the ice again it forms again ice. So again it will go downside. That means then there is no possibility to leave the aquatic organisms. So the aquatic organisms, they must be lie under the water and the below the ice cubes. So if the density of ice is very high, so the ice cubes, they can be easily undergo on the bottom of the sea. So there is so that it means that there is no life for the aquatic organisms. So the aquatic organisms in the cold region, they must be lie under the ice cubes. They must be lie under the ice cubes because of this reason. If the density of ice is very high, there is no life for the aquatic organisms. So there are many applications of this phase diagram. So by the phase diagram, even though you can make an alliance, so something you can make it even though an alliance. So I want to show you that. So you can make an alliance. So by using this particular phase diagram, you can easily make the allies. Allies are nothing but you can take the zinc and magnesium, and you can take the brass like iron. So you can take any two metals and you can add them to make an alloy. So at what composition, at which composition they must be added so that they can be easily melted. So that all the process can be easily, and we can easily extract a particular metal. So the extraction process, the extraction of even the extraction of lead is also one of the application of this phase diagram. So by using the phase diagram, everything, the physical, the matter, so when it will be melt, when it will be freezes, at what temperature, at which composition I should take so that it can be made into an alloy. So at which composition I need to take so that to made an alloy. So that is very, very important thing. So really the phase diagram will explain all the processes. So with which pressure, at which temperature, at which composition, at which volume, at which pressure. So that is a very, very important thing. So by using the phase diagram, now you can understand many different processes. So this is all under the phase diagram. So by using this phase diagram, we can understand many different processes. And till now, this is the phase diagram. And further, we will understand the phase diagrams of another system like CO2, sulfur, and even the zinc, magnesium, or bicomponent system. We will understand in the next session. And okay.